This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice. Stop eating eggs the wrong way, especially if you have diabetes, because this simple food can help keep your blood sugar stable or quietly make your condition worse. Start paying attention to how you eat eggs, not just whether you eat them or not. In this video, you will discover the truth about eggs and diabetes, the common mistakes many people still make, and the right way to eat eggs without harming your health. Watch until the end, because one small habit involving eggs may be affecting your blood sugar without you even realizing it. Before we talk about eggs, we need to understand something very important. What really happens inside your body when you have diabetes? Diabetes isn't just about sugar, it's about how your body handles sugar. When you eat foods that contain carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Then, your body releases insulin, a hormone that helps move that glucose into your cells, where it's used for energy. But in diabetes, this system doesn't work properly. Either your body doesn't produce enough insulin, or your cells don't respond to insulin effectively. And because of that, sugar stays in your bloodstream longer than it should. Over time, this can damage your blood vessels, your nerves, your eyes, your kidneys, and even your heart. That's why controlling blood sugar isn't just important, it's essential. And this is where your daily food choices play a huge role.
Now let's get to the main question. Are eggs safe for people with diabetes? The short answer is yes, they can be, but there's a deeper answer that you really need to understand. Eggs are very unique because they contain almost no carbohydrates. And remember, carbohydrates are the main nutrient that raises blood sugar levels. So when you eat eggs, you are not causing a spike in blood glucose the way you would if you ate white bread or sugary snacks. In fact, eggs have a very low glycemic index, which means they have minimal impact on blood sugar. But that's not all. Eggs are also rich in protein and healthy fats, and protein has a powerful effect. It helps you feel full for a longer period of time, which means you're less likely to overeat or reach for unhealthy snacks later. And this is extremely important for people with diabetes because managing portion size and avoiding unnecessary snacking can make a big difference in blood sugar control. So, based on this, eggs can actually be a helpful food in a diabetic-friendly diet. But, and this is very important, it all depends on how you eat them. Let's start with what not to do, because this is often where many people unknowingly make mistakes, not because they don't care about their health, but simply because they don't realize the impact of small habits. You see, eggs themselves are not the problem. In fact, they are a highly nutritious food, rich in protein, vitamins, and essential nutrients. The real issue is not the egg itself, it's what we eat them with and how we cook them that can completely change their effect on the body, and sometimes turn a healthy food into something less beneficial. For example, if you eat eggs with white toast, butter, processed meats like bacon or sausage, then suddenly you are combining eggs with foods that are high in unhealthy fats, refined carbohydrates, and sodium. And this kind of combination may taste satisfying in the short term, but over time it can place extra stress on your body and may contribute to insulin resistance, gradual weight gain, and an increased risk of heart disease. Especially for people with diabetes, this pattern can make blood sugar control more difficult than it needs to be. Another common mistake is frying eggs in too much oil or repeatedly using unhealthy cooking oils. While it may seem simple, this adds extra calories and unhealthy fats that your body does not actually need. Over time, these small additions can accumulate and quietly affect your overall health without you even noticing it. Also, some people rely too heavily on eggs and eat them in excessive amounts, thinking that more protein automatically means more health. But this is not how nutrition works, because even healthy foods, when consumed in excess, can lead to imbalance. Your body needs variety, not repetition of just one food. Too much of anything, even something nutritious, can crowd out other essential nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, and micronutrients from vegetables and fruits. So the key message here is simple. It's not about avoiding eggs, and it's not about fearing them either. It's about awareness.
how you combine them, how you prepare them, and how often you consume them. Because in the end, healthy eating is not defined by one ingredient, but the overall pattern of your daily choices.
Now, let's talk about the right way, because this is where eggs can truly become a powerful ally in managing your diabetes, not just as a simple food, but as part of a smart, well-balanced eating strategy that supports your long-term health. First, choose healthier cooking methods. This is one of the most important steps and often the most overlooked. Boiled eggs, poached eggs, or lightly scrambled eggs are much better options. Why? Because these methods don't require excessive oil, and they help you avoid adding unnecessary calories or unhealthy fats. At the same time, they help preserve the nutritional value of the eggs, including high-quality protein, vitamins, and essential nutrients. On the other hand, deep frying eggs or cooking them with too much butter or oil can reduce their health benefits and introduce elements that are not ideal for blood sugar and heart health. So the way you cook really does matter. Second, pair eggs with the right foods. This step is just as important because eggs alone are only part of the picture. Instead of white bread or refined carbohydrates, try whole grain options. Whole grains digest more slowly, which helps maintain more stable blood sugar levels. Even better, combine eggs with vegetables. For example, spinach, tomatoes, broccoli, cucumber, or avocado. These foods are rich in fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. Fiber is especially important because it slows down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. This helps prevent sudden spikes in blood sugar levels and supports more stable energy throughout the day. You feel fuller, longer, and more satisfied without needing extra snacks. Third, watch your portion size, because even healthy foods need balance. For most people, eating 1 to 2 eggs per day is generally considered safe and can be part of a healthy routine. But this is not a fixed rule for everyone. Your ideal intake may vary depending on your age, activity level, overall diet, and medical condition. That's why it's important not to focus on a single number blindly. Instead, focus on how your entire diet looks as a whole system. And most importantly, listen to your body. Pay attention to how you feel, your energy levels, and your blood sugar response. And if you're unsure or have existing health conditions, then consulting a healthcare professional is always the safest and smartest choice, because personalized guidance is always more powerful than general advice.
You might be wondering, is there real scientific evidence behind all of this? Because it's one thing to hear advice or common opinions online, but it's another thing entirely when we look at what science actually says. The answer is yes. There is real scientific research that has examined this topic carefully. Several studies have looked at the effects of egg consumption in people with type 2 diabetes and how it influences blood sugar control, weight, and overall metabolic health. And interestingly, many of these studies found that eating eggs in moderation did not worsen blood sugar control. In other words, for most people, eggs do not cause negative spikes in glucose levels. In some cases, research even suggests that eggs may help improve satiety, meaning they help you feel full longer, and this can naturally reduce unnecessary snacking and overeating, which ultimately supports better weight management. And as we mentioned earlier, weight control is a key factor in managing diabetes, because even a small improvement in body weight can positively affect insulin sensitivity and overall blood sugar stability. However, it's also important to understand that not all studies show exactly the same results. Some research indicates that the relationship between eggs and diabetes risk can vary depending on overall diet and lifestyle habits. For example, someone who eats a balanced diet rich in vegetables, fiber, and healthy fats may respond very differently compared to someone who consumes a lot of processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats. Which means, eggs are not a magic solution, they are not a cure, and they are not a guarantee, but they can be part of a healthy strategy when combined with the right lifestyle, balanced nutrition, and consistent healthy habits. Now, let's address another big concern: cholesterol. This is something that worries many people, especially when eggs are involved. Many people believe that eating eggs regularly will automatically raise their cholesterol levels and increase the risk of heart disease. And honestly, this concern is understandable, Because if you have diabetes, your risk of cardiovascular problems is already higher than average. So, naturally, you want to be more careful about what you eat. But here's what you need to know. The relationship between eggs and cholesterol is not as simple as we once believed. Recent research suggests that dietary cholesterol, the cholesterol you get from food, does not affect blood cholesterol levels as strongly as we used to think. In fact, for most people, your body actually produces cholesterol on its own. And when you consume cholesterol from food, your body can adjust by producing less. So the impact is not always direct. More importantly, the biggest contributors to high cholesterol are often not natural foods like eggs, but rather processed foods, trans fats, and excessive sugar intake. These are the real factors that can negatively affect your heart health over time, not eggs. However, this doesn't mean you should ignore cholesterol completely. That said, if you already have high cholesterol or a history of heart disease, then your situation may be different. You may need to be more mindful about how often you eat eggs and how they fit into your overall diet. For example, paying attention to portion size, avoiding unhealthy cooking methods, and combining eggs with heart-friendly foods. And in this case, it's always best to follow personalized advice from your doctor, because at the end of the day, your health is unique, and the best approach is the one that is tailored specifically for you.
Let's make this practical, because understanding the theory is one thing, but applying it in your daily life is what truly makes a difference. Here's a simple example of how you can include eggs in your daily routine the right way, without making things complicated or overwhelming. In the morning, you could have 1 or 2 boiled eggs paired with a side of vegetables like spinach, tomatoes, or cucumbers, and a slice of whole grain bread. This kind of breakfast gives you a good balance of protein, fiber, and steady energy, so you don't feel hungry too quickly or experience sudden blood sugar spikes. For lunch, try to focus on balance again. Choose lean protein like chicken, fish, or tofu. Combine it with vegetables and add healthy fats such as avocado, nuts, or olive oil. And if you want eggs again, you can include them in a salad with leafy greens. This is a simple way to add extra protein without relying on processed foods. You can even adjust this routine based on your preferences. The goal is not perfection, but consistency. Small choices repeated every day. The key is balance, not just focusing on one food, not just thinking eggs are healthy, so I'll only eat eggs, but creating a pattern, a way of eating that includes variety and supports your overall health in the long run.
Let's quickly clear up some myths. Because when it comes to diabetes, there's often confusion and small misunderstandings can lead to the wrong choices. Myth number 1, eggs are bad for diabetes. Not true. Eggs themselves do not raise blood sugar significantly. Why? Because they contain very little to almost no carbohydrates. And as you may know, carbohydrates are the main factor that causes blood sugar to spike. So eating eggs alone will not lead to a sudden increase in your glucose levels. Myth number 2, you should avoid eggs completely. Also not true. Avoiding eggs is unnecessary unless advised by your doctor. For most people, eggs can actually be part of a balanced and healthy diet. They provide protein and help you feel full longer, which can reduce overeating and help with better blood sugar control. Myth number 3, more eggs equals better health. No, this is where many people go wrong. Balance always matters. Eating too many eggs while ignoring other important foods like vegetables and fiber can lead to an unbalanced diet. And in diabetes management, balance, consistency, and moderation are always the key. So remember, it's not about fear and it's not about excess. It's about making smart choices every single day. So, what's the takeaway? Eggs can be a healthy and valuable part of a diabetes-friendly diet, but only if you eat them in moderation, cook them in a healthy way, and combine them with the right foods. Because in the end, it's not just about what you eat, but how you eat it.
Taking care of your blood sugar doesn't have to be complicated. It can start with simple choices made consistently every single day. So next time you reach for an egg, remember, you have the power to turn it into something beneficial for your body. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with someone who might need it. because sometimes the smallest habits can create the biggest changes. See you in the next video.